Hey there, it's naturopath Will Shannon here, and I want to talk to you today about fermentation and why specifically I dislike it. I hope by the end of this tape you'll have a good idea as to what fermentation is, but just more importantly in 30 words or less why I don't recommend it. I've basically just got through recording courses on iridology, herbalism, different things. I was having a bit of mic trouble here, which is why I just started talking directly in it, because I thought this was too important and I really wanted to get this message to you. So there's a couple of figures in history that I want you to know about. Number one is a gentleman called Dr. Otto Warburg, and then the second one is a contemporary of Louis Pasteur called Anton Béchamp. Not Béchamp, Béchamp. Bay, like B-A-Y, Champ, C-H, but Champ. You say it like an S-H. And then Otto Warburg. Now, Otto Warburg won his first Nobel Prize in 1931. He was nominated for a Nobel Prize over 40 times from memory. Very, 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 very smart doctor. And a lot of people kind of misquote him. You've probably heard about acid and alkaline and oxygen. But basically, he used to talk about fermentation. And what he found was there's organisms that are aerobic, which means they live with oxygen. Aerobic means with oxygen, and anaerobic means without oxygen. And so Dr. Otto Warburg basically found that there's certain cells in the body that when the oxygen levels in parts of the body drop, the cells basically sort of change form, or the organisms basically, there's different organisms that live in oxygen than not oxygen. And without boring you with all the detail, the bottom line is most naturopaths believe if you're high in oxygen, you've got healthier type of organisms that live inside the body. Now, Anton Béchamp, there's a very, very good book. I highly recommend you check it out. It's called Pasteur the Plagiarist. And if you've got this from my email list, I will have actually attached a link. It's a big mouthful of a book. It's 300-400 pages. You probably don't want to read it unless you've got a lot of spare time, or you're going on holidays, or you're really passionate. But the bottom line was, it's a theory that's kind of now lost, but a lot of naturopaths talk about this theory because a lot of us really, really believe in it. And it's not that we're crazy with tin foil on our hair running around, talking about strange stuff. It's just that this is what we're taught, some of us, and it's not the mainstream medical model at the moment, unfortunately. So Louis Pasteur, I think it was the 1860s or 1870s, came out with the germ theory of disease, looking through a microscope. And then the alternative to the germ theory, which is now the standard medical model, was something by Anton Béchamp called the terrain theory. Now, Anton Béchamp said something, and let me introduce another name here, Dr. Robert Young, who was an American naturopath, who talked a lot about live blood analysis, and I first learned a lot about this through him. But Anton Béchamp, the terrain theory, contemporary of Pasteur, and Dr. Robert Young, sort of the father of American live blood analysis in some ways, basically taught the same thing. And if you've got this from my video list, I will have sent you a link. You will have basically seen a bacteria change form. And basically what they noticed under a microscope is they saw bacteria changing form into different types of bacteria. So it wasn't like Louis Pasteur that taught that one germ causes one disease. They basically said if the environment is a certain environment, bacteria will change. And basically there's this chain of life that I first learned from Dr. Robert Young, which is basically that when you look at the live blood, you've got a healthy red blood cell. Then if the environment is not well, that morphs into a bacteria, which morphs into a yeast, which then morphs into a mold. Think of it as 4 stages. Basically what happened was there was things like the pH of the blood, the temperature, an infinite number of factors that they couldn't understand why. Like there's 3 types of bacteria. There's a round type called a coccus, a rod shape called a bacillus, like an anthrax shape, and a star shaped. They didn't know why it was changing back and forth between those, and they still don't, but they suggest pH, temperature, and other things plays a role. But the bottom line is Anton Béchamp said, you know what, forget the standard medical model that the cell is the smallest building block of life. How can the cell be the smallest building block of life if it's changing form? There must be something smaller. So the same way that a human atom is made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons, Anton Béchamp said, you know what, inside the cell he called it the microzyma, which means little enzyme or little ferment, depending on how you translate it. And this microzyma, depending on the environment, becomes a human body cell, blood cell, or then this same microzyma can morph into a bacteria, yeast, and mold. And he theorized that microzymas are indestructible, and these supposed germs that are going through the air are nothing but these microzymas, and when they come in, our immune system deals with it, or the environment of our body causes these things to morph. Now, this theory is called pleomorphism, which means like one life, many forms. This has fallen out of favor, and Louis Pasteur's germ theory has taken over, which I alluded to before, which is one germ, one disease. And so, you know, they used to say in natural health, you know, is the gangrene there because of the bacteria, or is the bacteria there because of the gangrene? You know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? So I'm certainly not trashing Western scientific medicine in this video, but I wanted to introduce, seeing so you're on my list, I just want to introduce just something interesting to you. And I get asked all the time why I don't recommend fermentation. And obviously in the bowels, we're from the school of thought of cleansing the bowels, not necessarily trying to ferment things down. And I'm one of the few naturopaths that still don't even use probiotics. We're cleaning. Now, I know this sounds very simple, and I know you've been conditioned all about probiotics, but it's such a simple metaphor. I remember in New York, I think it was about 20, 30 years ago, I've lost track, and there was a big garbage strike there, or trash as they call it in America, and the garbage collectors refused to take away the garbage, and there was all these rats that came. But as soon as the garbage went away, the rats went away. And it's the same principle. If you don't change the garbage, parasites come. As Anton Béchamp taught, that germs feed on diseased tissue, basically. Now, there's only one final thing I'll teach you, is this fermentation that takes place from a red blood cell to a bacteria, to yeast, or a mold. Dr. Robert Young used to say, you don't get old, you rot. It's like a banana. It starts out yellow and it starts going black. Anton Béchamp tried to stop this process of fermentation to see how he could stop these cells cycling, and he found there were certain minerals that did it. Now, some of the minerals had to do with the pH, but he used to use carbonates and chlorides. So two of the things, if you're reading his book, was potassium carbonate and zinc chloride. So for many years, and to be honest, I haven't used it the last couple of years in the clinic, which is why I've just brought it back out. I've used carbonates and chlorides, specifically in the form of potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sodium. Carbonate, bicarbonate, and chlorides for minerals to build the body. So Bernard Jensen, the father of iridology, used to call the stomach a sodium organ. You know, some people associate potassium with different organs, magnesium obviously with the muscles and bowel movements, and calcium with the bones and teeth, and so on. So minerals will build the body, but we specifically put this in. Now, the other thing is the pinnacle superfoods, which I give many clients, which is that organic green powder. If you don't have it, I highly recommend you run out and get it, because we try to pH shift that as well when we initially tested it, so that it's nothing but organic greens in a way that's going to feed your body and feed your blood in a way of trying to keep the pH levels optimum, but obviously keep nutrition in there as well. So please just go away, have a look at my email. I'll attach to it a little video of this pleomorphism. I'll attach a link for, because it's out of print now, it's, you know, after the copyright, 60, 70 years, the Anton Béchamp book, where it's called Pasteur the Plagiarist. And it was alleged by the author that he'd stolen a lot of material from Béchamp. I alluded to a little bit about Dr. Otto Warburg, who won the Nobel Prize for Oxygen. And please just bear with me. I'm starting to develop more of a digital style of communicating with people, and I really want to educate you. If you're on this list, I really want you to get access to really the cutting edge information, which is why you're seeing these iridology courses roll out, the encyclopedia roll out. And I encourage you to stick with that. That's $9.99 a week, and you're going to be getting encyclopedia entry shortly. And also, it's very easy to do. We're actually building an online forum now for clients, so we can all come together and be one big happy family. I'll see you on the next video.